Welcome everyone to the Planet Co, a Draconis Combine world on the border between the Combine and the Lyran Commonwealth, where the newly formed Thor's Wrath Mercenary Company is about to take on their first mission. They're going to try to assess the current strength of the Combine on this world and see if they can take out a headquarters to disrupt their operations. But it's not going to be easy. There is a force waiting for them. They knew their arrival was coming. There's been a couple of missions here that haven't gone so well. They've been able to take out a few buildings, but unfortunately the headquarters is still in place. So they're going to have to get through these guys, find that headquarters, and take it down. Welcome to the first mission of my campaign using the Mercenaries Chaos Campaign system. All right, everyone, I'm very excited about this mission. I haven't played a classic BattleTech campaign in quite a while, but as I was reading through the Hotspots Hinterland system that's intended to be used for a mercenary company, I got really excited about trying this out with classics. So even though I was originally going to start with an Alpha Strike campaign, I thought, I want to play a classic game. So I'm actually going to start with this and come back to the Alpha Strike portion of it. But let me tell you a little bit about what I'm going to do. I'll give you a little background on the mercenary company if you care. As always, I'll have chapters, so feel free to skip this stuff if you do not care. But I'm going to play with mostly standard rules as far as the campaign goes. I am using the no battlefield support for you rule. That's going to take out the battlefield support assets, and I'm going to use just regular total warfare, full rules, tanks, VTOLs, and infantry. Now, as part of that, I get an extra 500 battle value. You normally start with 3,000, and then you get 32 battlefield support points. Instead, I get 3,500 battle value. However, I am still restricted to only purchasing 1 or 2 units at the beginning. I can make 1 a mech and 1 a vehicle. I think I have to have at least 1 mech. I don't know. Maybe I can have 2 vehicles, whatever. I started with 2 mechs, a quick draw 4G, and a fire starter, the standard FS9H. I'll show you the forces. I'll show you the spreadsheet that I have that walks through their battle value, who's piloting them, what their skill level is. I'll talk a little bit more about it too as I'm getting the mission going. But that's what I have going on. So a little more battle value. I decided to use right from the start of the campaign, right before we traveled to our first contract, we purchased a Bulldog tank and a J. Edgar hover tank to kind of round out the force, because I really didn't think just going in with 2 mechs was a great idea. So unfortunately, using that optional rule, I do have to purchase additional forces if I want to. When you're using battlefield support points, you just get to buy some tanks and infantry and whatever before every track using your points. So it's a little tougher, I think, when you're using this optional rule, but this is what I prefer. I like using full rules, no big deal. I'm not making any commentary about this. However, after I'm done with this mission, this is going to be my canon mission, if you will. I am going to run it again using the battlefield support points rules. So if you just want to see the differences in how the forces play, you can do that. I've done this before where I just tested out battlefield support assets versus full rules. And I did it in a very contrived way where it wasn't really a mission. I wasn't using the battlefield support the way it was designed. So I'm going to run them both here. I'm leaving my commentary out of it. I'm not going to talk about it. And you can just see for yourself what you think about the 2 different systems. The only thing I will say is if you want to use Hotspots Hinterlands, just be aware that it is very heavily biased toward battlefield support points, which makes sense because that was introduced as part of the Mercenaries box, which came out right before it. And I think all products going forward are really going to focus on that. In this video, I'm going to be using what are now going to be considered, I don't know, the classic BattleTech rules, the legacy classic BattleTech rules, because just yesterday, before I'm doing this video, they announced that the new core boxes are coming out and the new core rulebook, which is not going to have any vehicle or infantry rules in it, at least full classic BattleTech rules. They're all going to be battlefield support points. So just keep that in mind, that what I'm showing you is going to be legacy material at this point. The rules are mostly going to stay intact, but there are quite a few changes they're making to the mech rules. Obviously, the vehicle and infantry rules are coming out. So just be aware that I'm kind of showing you old school stuff here, but whatever, I still like it. Okay, I'm also going to use aces because I'm playing by myself. So I have aces decks out here for each of the Draconis Combine units. So I've got a sniper here for the Panther. I've got the brawler deck for the Vedette. I think that's how you say that. I've got the Juggernaut deck here for the Demolisher, and I've got the Missile Boat deck here for the LRM Carrier. I tried to balance the forces pretty well. They both come in a little bit over 3,000 battle value, but I think it should work well. Aces hasn't worked so well for me with Classic. I am going to try to just use it loosely. I'm going to probably play the force a little bit myself, but I'm going to use it in a basic way. I think doing it in a mission like this will make it easier because I don't have to get so hung up on, is this the smart target selection or the dumb one? It doesn't matter. This is like a militia force. They might make stupid decisions. It's all good. I'm just going to use it to just guide what they're going to do, so I'm not totally playing by myself. As part of that, I have a destroy objective on the quick draw. That's my commander, and this mission type is a strike, and the opposing force's primary objective is to destroy the commander. So they're going to have a destroy objective on that. I think it's going to work really well with this because they don't have to attack it, and that's how the aces cards are going to work. They're not always going to target it, but it will increase the priority of that, and that's what they should be doing, trying to take out my commander. So looking forward to seeing how that works. I'm also using waypoints for the different buildings. This mission setup is you add 4 buildings, medium buildings, I think it says, and they're going to go within 3 hexes of the center line, which is actually right where this road is. So they're all there, and you designate one of those. This one might not be 3 hexes, but whatever, it's fine. But you designate one building, the defender does, as the headquarters. Now, since I would know what it is if I designate it myself, I thought I'll use the waypoints and I'll just shuffle them up and randomize them, and whichever one is waypoint A will be the target. That'll be the headquarters building. So that's how I'm going to use that. I have to be within 2 hexes of it. I'm just going to play it. You have to be within 2 hexes of the building itself, so not the waypoint. That's usually how you play aces, but I'm going to do it by the building. So you have to be within 2 hexes of that building. If I had a unit with an active probe, I could extend that to 4 hexes. I unfortunately don't have that. When the unit scans, they cannot fire during that weapon attack phase. So that's when the scan happens. They have to survive to the end phase to actually complete the scan. So that part's going to be tough because these units have a lot of firepower. So we're going to have to really think about exactly how we're going to get in there and scan these things and destroy them. Once we've identified the building, we can attack it. I mean, we can attack the buildings at any point, I guess. They can take 30 damage before they're destroyed. They are immobile, so they have a -4 modifier to attack, so they should be pretty easy to attack. All right, that's the mission setup. I showed you the forces as I'm talking here in case you're interested. I'll give you a little background here on my mercenary company for people who like that kind of stuff, just the story behind it. It's not that interesting. I'm not super creative, but I did the best I could. I'm kind of happy with what I came up with. So if you're interested, keep listening. If not, go ahead and skip right to the mission. So the Thor's Wrath Mercenary Company is new. It's newly formed, and it was done by the commander there, Jimmy Calbo, in his quick draw. And he comes from the Free Worlds League, and he was part of the 3rd Merrick Militia during his military career. He didn't really see a lot of duty, like he wasn't in a lot of active battles or anything, but he did get pretty good with a mech during his training. And so he was definitely capable. He just never really, fortunately for him, had to use his skills. A few years in, he met a new recruit named Christina Parker, and those two ended up in a relationship, and they kept it going until Jimmy decided he wanted to retire from the military. And he wanted to settle down in New Olympia, which is kind of like a vacation planet, pretty deep in the Free Worlds League territory, not a lot of risk of anything bad happening there. Unfortunately for him, Christina did not, so they ended up going their separate ways. So Jimmy went on to become a fisherman because there's a big fishing business there on New Olympia. And Christina ended up, when she was done with her military tour, she ended up becoming a mercenary and joined the mercenary life. So Jimmy seemed to have a life, but he actually kind of got bored with it. He did not like fishing, didn't find it quite as interesting as he thought when he was about to retire. And so he turned to gambling. That became his new form of entertainment. And one day he found out his funds were pretty much empty and he needed to find a way to start making some money. So he decided to get back in his quick draw and form his own mercenary company. And he called them the New Olympia Dragoons. And this mercenary company never amounted to very much. They participated in some missions. They were okay. So some background here. I actually had this particular pilot in a mech in one of my previous campaigns, and it was actually at a game store, and then like it just stopped. Like nobody did it anymore. So that's kind of what I'm using for the story here. Anyway, so the New Olympia Dragoons never really amounted to much. They did take part in some really close calls during their time, but while they were on Galatea for some rest in the Lyran Commonwealth in early 3028, the entire crew just disbanded, and most of his partners were able to find some connections on the planet, and they thought they could find better work elsewhere, and so they left him. So Jimmy figured that he could probably do the same thing while he was there, start fresh with a brand new company, and maybe find some other disgruntled employees from other mercenary companies that were ready to jump ship. And then things got weird. So one day, while he was still on Galatea, Christina showed up, and she had just barely escaped a pirate mission that had gone wrong, and she hitched a ride with some other mercenaries that were in the area. She had no idea if the rest of her company survived, but she had to assume they were all dead based on what happened. And so Jimmy and Christina were reunited, and they decided to work together and form their new company, Thor's Wrath. They thought it sounded intimidating enough, and that's what they were going for. And Jimmy promised Christina he'd stick to easy work, and he knew in his head that really wasn't the case. His reputation wasn't very good. based on his previous mercenary company, and they just probably have to take whatever they could get. Fortunately, they found a pretty decent contract for a raid in the nearby system of Ko, and that is where our campaign begins with a strike mission. And I will show you also the details of the contract if you didn't watch my previous videos where I built the force and built out the first contract. It's a pretty good contract in terms of what we'll have to pay for repairs and just base pay just to exist. That stuff's all covered, but we have no salvage, and we're pretty much being told what to do by the Lyran Commonwealth. So it's good from a financial perspective. It's not so good from a company growth perspective, but we're going to take what we can get. You know, like I said, Jimmy doesn't have the best reputation. Hasn't really had a lot of time as a mercenary, and the time he did have wasn't that great. So, you know, you just got to take the contracts as they come up. So I'm excited for this. Let's go ahead and get to the battle. All right, I will admit to being slightly rusty on the classic BattleTech rules. I've been playing mostly Alpha Strike. I did goof up in the demonstration I did for Battlefield Support versus classic rules. I'm going to do my best here. I'm probably going to be referring to things a little bit just to make sure I'm not screwing anything up. One thing that's a little bit different in this system is that your commander, if destroyed, will result in a -2 penalty to your initiative roll. So this is kind of, I think Aces maybe borrowed from this, or they were designing them at the same time, but it's kind of that similar mechanic. So if Jimmy goes down, that's bad because they're going to get victory points for that, a lot of them, and we're going to have to overcome that somehow, but we'd also get a -2. We're going to designate the Panther on the defender side as their commander. So same thing, if that Panther goes down, it's a -2 to the initiative. I have a feeling we're pretty much going to do a hit and run here. We're probably not going to try to get into an extended battle because that I don't think is to our advantage. Our force is quick. We've got a lot of speed. The quick draw has a 5 walking, 8 running. The Firestarter has a 6 walking, 9 running. They both can jump, the same as their walking speed. And the J. Edgar has, I believe, is it 8, 12? Yeah, way underestimated. J. Edgar has 11 cruising and 17 flanking. This thing's pretty cool. It's actually got decent enough armor as long as it doesn't get hit in the back. So this thing can really move. So that's our advantage, is the speed. And I'll show you the other units here as well. So I just came up with lame names for the vehicles just to have call signs. But those are starting at a 4-5 skill. Jimmy is in the quick draw, which at first I thought when I picked this one, I was like, I just want to pick kind of like a, you know, whatever kind of generic mech that's not that great. But as I was looking at him, like, this mech's actually pretty good. It's got good speed. It can jump, which I didn't realize for some reason. I didn't think it could jump. It's got decent firepower. It can shoot in its back if we need that. The only limitation it has is armor, and that's going to be our unit's weakness. Armor's not so great. And there's the Firestarter. So again, not much armor, but this has a lot of weapons, has flamers and things that we can cause, like maybe to overheat that Panther. That could be useful. Also good against infantry. But we're going to have to use our speed to our advantage. So this is definitely going to be mostly a hit and run. I don't think we're going to engage much, and we don't have any reason to engage because we get no salvage. So even if we destroy this stuff, we have 0 chance of getting it. We don't even get any points for it. So our goal is to get in, find his headquarters, and get out. At the start, I can pick 2 units to come in from the short edge here, and I'm going to pick the Firestarter and the J. Edgar because they're speedy. And at turn 2, the other 2 units can come in on one of the perpendicular sides. So I'm guessing that means I can come in here or here, which seems slightly unfair because that means I can start right next to a building and scan it. But I don't know. That's the way the mission's set up. If I did something wrong, let me know. I actually had to redo it because I thought the building started on the far side, but it actually said toward the center. So I've already reread it and done that, but I didn't see anything saying that it's not okay for me to just come in right next to the buildings here or here. Of course, the defender can plan for that if they're not being controlled by an AI, and, you know, they can make sure it's not that easy for you. All right, let's go ahead and roll it up. Hopefully this makes sense that the gray are going to be Thor's Wrath and the red are going to be the Draconis Combine side. That is a tie. Wow, getting off to a fast start. We got a tie in our first initiative roll. Okay, we got another tie. Oh my God. Okay, the Cretans win, so we're going to have to come onto the field first, which is good because I don't remember the rules for what the aces do when there's nothing on the field. So that helps me. All right, so I think I'm going to move the Firestarter first. So Vapor is going to make her first move. And I don't know if you saw in the sheets, but Vapor has an improved piloting skill. So one of the 2 skill advancements you get at the beginning of the campaign, I used for her piloting. She jumps, and I don't know, I didn't want to do 2 gunnery because I don't want to become like this super overpowered faction. So I thought piloting might be good for her. And then Jimmy has an improved gunnery, so he's a 3, gunnery 5, piloting. Okay, and just as a reminder, black dice that I'll mark the mechs with, that is running movement or vehicles. That's flanking movement for them, not standstill like it is in Alpha Strike. Okay, so I think I'm going to start her off. So I can start anywhere on the narrow edge, I think, and I'm just going to walk onto the map. So I think I'm going to go this way and try to build up a good modifier. But I think for this first turn, we're going to try to just stay out of sight. I don't think there's any reason to engage with these things right now. They're going to have the advantage of being able to target us after we move. So I think I'm going to move her this way. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll turn for 8, go down here for 9. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total hexes. That, I believe, is a 3 movement modifier. So that's her target movement modifier, and that keeps her out of sight. Really, nothing should be able to attack her there, I don't think. The Vedette could maybe get around here and get eyes on her, but we'll see about that. So I'll kind of explain a little bit about what I'm doing, but I'm not going to like teach classic BattleTech. So if you're looking for that, I might make a video about it, but this video won't teach you all the rules, sorry. All right, so the Vedette is on the Brawler deck, and of course wants to attack Vapor in her fire starter. And I'm just debating whether it can see her in this location, because classic BattleTech line of sight works differently. You got to check the hexes the line of sight goes through, and I think it's going through there. I was trying to get it there just on cruising movement, but I think it's going to have to move one more, unfortunately for it, and go to flanking, which is going to be a higher modifier for the attack. But unfortunately, it just can't see her there, so I think it's going to have to just move one here. It does want to stay at medium range, and I'm trying to keep it beyond 9 hexes because this can't hit beyond 9, 7, 8. We're going to put it right there. Jimmy and the Bulldog are not... That's a good, tandem name, Jimmy and the Bulldog. Anyway, they're not coming onto the map yet, so the Combine side has to move 2 units now. All right, there's our movement done. I don't remember if I explained the LRM carrier, but it had a card where it was trying to figure out if it could stand still, and it was checking if there was a unit within 24 inches, which would be 12 hexes. The fire starter's at 13, but based on the game situation, I thought, okay, let's just say it's there, because I think the best thing for that is to just stay where it is. That was my thinking, so I had it stand still. The J-Edgar just used its full 17 hexes of movement to zoom up there to the building. That thing is going to be amazing for trying to complete this mission, as long as it doesn't die. So it's within 1 hex of the building, so it will be able to scan during the weapon attack phase. The Bulldog wanted to get closer to it because that's the only unit it can see and get into attack range. So it just used... I debated whether using cruising movement or flanking movement was better, but because I couldn't get it any closer than medium range, I figured we'll just leave it to cruising and try to give it a better modifier there. If that thing hits... Oh, man. So much for this mission. that J-Edgar is going to be dead. And then the Panther wanted to be able to attack the J-Edgar as well. It wanted to get in the woods, but unfortunately for it, this woods doesn't have line of sight to it, so it just had to jump down here next to the building. It has line of sight, but that's going to be a real tough shot, almost close to impossible, if not definitely impossible. I think it might actually be. So maybe that was kind of dumb because there's no way for it to attack. I just think, unfortunately, there's just nothing it can do. There's no way it could get in a position to actually attack that thing, so I'm just going to let it jump down there. That'll give it more mobility, I guess, for what it wants to do on the next round. Okay, we're going to get into combat. This is going to be pretty short and sweet, I think, because I guess the Vedette can... No, they has level 1 in front, so they can't see each other. So it can only see this. The Bulldog can only see that. The Panther can't attack. The LRM carrier, I don't think, has any line of sight. So we have to decide if that's going to use indirect fire or if this is going to attack. You know, the card, if you're looking at an Aces card, it wants it to use indirect fire, but I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if that's too smart. This is where the classic BattleTech stuff starts to, you kind of just have to use your own interpretation for these rules, because it just, in Alpha Strike, yes, this makes sense because the indirect fire penalty isn't as bad in Alpha Strike because ground movement has a 0 modifier, but flanking movement in Classic has a 2 modifier to that indirect fire attack. And it doesn't get a -1 from standing still, it just gets a flat 0. So it'd be pretty bad numbers if it can even do it. So I'll figure that stuff out, but for now we're going to say, to start the weapon attack phase, the J-Edgar is going to scan this building. It will not be able to attack. The fire starter is going to attack here. Again, it doesn't matter. I can just make these declarations. We don't have to go back and forth because it's just a computer that's deciding. But that's going to attack the Vedette, or at least attempt to, even though it's in really long range. It's going to be nearly impossible to do this, if not entirely impossible. Okay, let me figure the rest out and let's start rolling up some attacks. All right, there's Vapor in her fire starter. She's aiming down the Vedette that just peeked around the corner on that hill. She's going to fire 2 medium lasers at it. They can just reach that distance. None of her other weapons can. She has flamers and machine guns, which only go up to 3 hexes. Very short range mech, but she has 2 medium lasers. She can attempt to hit this thing, maybe get a lucky motive hit or critical. Unfortunately, due to her gunnery skill being a 4, she actually cannot attack this. It's going to be a 13 to hit. 4 for her gunnery, 2 for running, 3 for the Vedette's TMM, and then 4 for long range. So that's going to be a 13. Not going to happen, so Vapor's just going to chill. Eyeing Vapor back, saying, "Oh, my training is much better than yours. I will attack you." It's going to use its AC 5. There is no partial cover here. This is not like Alpha Strike, where just because that hill's in the way of Vapor's leg, it gets partial cover. She's above the hill there, the level 1 side of the hill, and she's not adjacent to it, so there's no partial cover here. This is just a straight 11 to hit. Not a good number, but worth a shot. All right, here we go. Vedette, AC 5 coming into Vapor. Oh, so close, but not quite. All right, I decided to not use indirect fire for the LRM carrier. It was going to be a 12, I think, for it to hit. Yeah, it gets 3 chances to hit it because it has 3 LRM 20 carriers, but I don't know. If it were me, I probably wouldn't bother with that. I'd save the ammo even though it's going to probably be a fast battle. But anyway, that was my decision. You got to just make decisions on that because in Alpha Strike, it's going to force it to do it. But, I don't know. I don't think that's a great move. All right, so let's go to the one that matters. The Panther can't attack, so the Bulldog is going to attack the J. Edgar. It's going to be 11s, just like the other. So it has 2 AC 20s. It's going to get 2 cracks at this on an 11. If it hits one of these, it is going to be bad news for this J. Edgar because that's coming in from the side, which has a real high chance for motive and critical hits. And if it gets a motive hit, it's like a +5 or something to the roll. So this isn't going to end well. Let's see what happens. All right, Bulldog, 2 11s coming in. Jimmy and the Pitbull, they're waiting to come on. Are they going to walk right into the Demolisher? Yeah, probably not. Okay, it missed. Whew. All right, that's it for weapon attacks. Nothing really exciting happened. Everybody missed, but that's pretty typical for classic BattleTech in the first round because things are moving fast. Nothing's that close, so it just is what it is. All right, there's no physical attack phase. Nothing's close enough. There is no heat. Vapor didn't shoot. She would have been the only one that could generate any heat on the Thor's Wrath side. The Combine side would only be the Panther. It also could not attack. Numbers were too high. So no heat. We're in the end phase. We can now reveal this waypoint because the J. Edgar is within 2 hexes, did not attack in the weapon phase, and survived until the end phase. So let's go ahead and flip this over. If it's A, everyone's going to say, what a dumb mission. It's B. All right. So that is not the headquarters. I'll place that waypoint aside. We're going to go on into round 2. And now the quick draw and the Bulldog can come onto the map. It says on any perpendicular side. I mean, I guess if I can pick wherever, I'd probably come down in the south here. Let that J. Edgar deal with this stuff, and then we'll try to get this building. I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, let's roll up initiative. All commanders are still in play. Roll it up. Okay, we win this time on the Thor's Wrath side. We got an 8, they got a 7. So they're going to have to go first. It will be the Sniper. That's going to be the Panther. That's unfortunate. That probably doesn't want to go first because something can probably get into its rear. I think I'm going to play it, though, as if there are 2 units down here. So when I do its facing, it's going to have to try to get somewhere that's not at risk to get hit in the back there. Okay, let me do the Panther, and we're going to have 4 units now, so everybody's going to be even in terms of initiative. All right, I went back and forth on this Panther. It wanted to do the nearest target, which is the J. Edgar, because it had to go to cautious movement style. And then it wanted to get 12 hexes away. I couldn't quite do that, but I got it to 11. And I was going to try to jump it into the trees to get it to 12 and also occupy the woods. But then I was thinking, the priority for this force is not protect our armor or make sure we don't get destroyed. Because the other side is looking at the buildings, not so much them. They need to destroy the commander. Getting a +3 modifier is not a good move. So it's accounting for the J. Edgar being in its front technically, and also the quick draw coming this way. So that's about the best I think I could do in that situation. Not a good situation to be in. I guess I could have jumped it up here or something, but I'm trying to keep the mods down because it does need to attack these units or they're going to lose. And now that I'm trying to do my movement, I think that's actually a really good spot because if I want to scan these buildings, something's going to have to get in the way that this Panther can shoot at. And that thing has a PPC that could do some serious damage. All right, here's a little movement update. So the Bulldog came in off of the map down here. it went into the tree. So it got 3 hexes. The trees are actually where it is. So it got a 1 for its cruising movement and a 1 for the tree modifier. The Vedette wanted to go next. It wanted to get behind the Bulldog, so it went backwards and got here behind that tree. So it's in its rear, and it's shooting at short range, I think, or it might be minimum range, but I still thought that was an okay move. So then Vapor decided to take a risk here and use her full movement of 9 hexes to come out here. Well, it actually ended up being 8, but whatever. It's close enough. Used all 9 movement points to move 8 hexes and get a 3 mod. She's going to take the risk here and hope that that's enough to prevent things from hitting her. The LRM carrier was probably the hardest one to do for the aces because it wants to get closer to the Bulldog, but its minimum range is 6, so that seems kind of dumb. And I don't want to put it anywhere out in the open here where the quick draw can just take advantage of it. So I thought the best place it could move was just go up here. It has no modifier. These things are tough because they can do so much damage, but they have so little movement, and they don't have a turret, so they have to be facing, within the front firing arc of what they want to attack. So they're tough to move. All they need to do is hit 1 time, though, and it's going to be serious damage. So I think that Bulldog could be in a bit of trouble here. All right, movement is done. Couldn't quite get things as good as I wanted based on the movement. So the quick draw came out and was able to find a way to get into this heavy woods and move 5 hexes. So that gives it basically a 4 mod. So that should protect it, which is good. It can use its scanning and not have to worry about getting too hurt. The Demolisher then backed up. The turret is broken. I wanted to turn it and make it look cool attacking the Bulldog, but for some reason that turret is like locked in place. Can that have a game effect? Nah, I guess not. All right, but then based on that, I didn't want to get the J. Edgar in this area where that Demolisher could take a shot at it. So I just decided to play cautious, just move it out this way. Actually, I did not use flanking movement. I couldn't use flanking movement because I was worried about side slipping off the map. So I just used cruising and just ended up getting there. So not close enough to scan. So just a quick draw, I'll be able to scan this round. So we'll hope we get lucky and we get A here, but that's about the best I could do. So I didn't take advantage of the initiative as much as I wanted to. All right, so generally, here's what's going on. The Panther is going to attack the Bulldog. Vedette is up next. The Vedette wants the lowest armor. That would really be the fire starter. So it's going to attack the fire starter. The Bulldog also wants lowest armor, but that doesn't really make any sense because it's at long range, so it's going to go for the Bulldog. The Missile Boat's the tricky one. It wants something attacked by an ally this turn. That's going to be one of these two. It's going to go for the Bulldog as well because that's short range for the LRMs. This Bulldog could be toast by the end of this round. It's not looking good. All right, that's what they're going to do. These two are attacking the Vedette. The quick draw is going to scan, and the J. Edgar is going to attack probably the Panther, but if this is in medium range, which it is, it might go after the LRM carrier. I'll decide in a minute. There's the Panther eyeing under that bridge between the 2 buildings, looking at the Bulldog over there in the woods. Gonna need a 9 to hit with its PPC, which is a pretty long-range weapon. So it packs a punch. It can do 10 damage, and it's got a lot of big damage things looking at it this round. The Bulldog crew they're shaking in their boots a little bit. All right, here we go. Panther on Bulldog needs a 9. Ooh, just misses. Got some close quarters combat here. The Vedette is going to attack the fire starter with its AC-5 and its machine gun. The AC-5 is in minimum range, unfortunately, so they're both going to be 10s to hit, if I did that right. 4 gunnery skill, 5 for cruising, 8 for the TMM of Vapor, and medium range for the machine gun, and +2 for minimum range for the AC-5. So it's going to need 10s on each. Don't you just love classic? Nothing.
Sir, Commander, our turret's locked. We can't turn it. We'll just shoot the building.
I don't know what's wrong with the turret. All right, it's attacking the Bulldog. It needs 9s, 2 AC-20s, 40 potential damage coming into the Bulldog. Let's hope it can just keep avoiding things in those woods over there. Here we go. 2 shots and a 9. Oh my God. It hit both of them. Oh my God, this is going to be so bad. This Bulldog is done. Here we go. Coming in on the front. That's a 6 and an 8. Pretty sure that's all going to the front. That Bulldog, bye-bye. Poor Pitbull. Never had a chance. Yeah, 6 and 8 are both the front when you're attacking from the front. So, yeah. Good thing we have really good contract terms where they're going to pay for our replacement. Oh, wait. Are they? Oh, my God. I think it's like 10%. Oh, what a stupid move. I can't believe it. Stupid Demolisher. Oh, yeah. Why didn't I just play with BSP? And, you know, someone even made a comment. They said, you think you're going to repair your vehicles? They're going to blow up. Well, yeah, they were right. All right, the LRM carrier was going to attack the Bulldog, and because it was in short range, and the Bulldog's dead, so it still, I think, spends the ammo, but it's not actually going to make the attack because it's just all going to hit the ground there, and it's smoking wreckage. Okay, so we'll go to the Bulldog, who's going to attack the Vidette, and it's going to use its large laser and its machine gun. So the large laser just needs a 6 to hit, and the machine guns are going to need an 8. So pretty good numbers for the Bulldog, the dead Bulldog. Okay, blue is the large laser. That's going to be a 6. Yellow is a machine gun. That's an 8. Ooh, wow, got a 12. Okay, so the large laser hits. That doesn't mean anything in Classic, by the way. It does if I hit it now. It's going to be a 7. So that is coming in on the side. So that's just going to hit the right side of the Vidette. This is the front. So that's going to be the right side. Okay, I kind of made a mistake because the machine gun's actually on the front of the Bulldog, not the turret. So I wouldn't have been able to spin around and use the machine gun. But we're just going to call that one of the SRM4s, which I forgot that it had. So it rolled a 5. It would have missed. It needs a 6 to hit. So I'm going to roll the other SRM4, and it needs a 6 to hit. Okay, that one hits. Let's roll the cluster hit. An 8. Every time I do this, I think I'm rolling an SRM6. It's an SRM4. That's 3 missiles. Okay, I'm going to roll these up. All right, so we got a turret, which I think the Vidette has. That's a turret. We got a 5 and a 7. That's going to be the right side. The 5 I'm going to have to double check on. All right, that 5 was the front with a motive hit. It gets a +2 because it's coming in on the side. That's where the damage came from. So it needs a 6 or higher to do something. Okay, so that's a 7 + 2. That's going to be a 9. That's going to be a -1 to its cruising speed and a +2 to driving skill rolls, which it's tracked. It probably won't have any, but it loses a movement point. All right, this mission's going to hell fast, but at least we did some decent damage to the Vidette. Now I'm starting to think about how can we take out 50% of their force, which I think means the number of units, or does it mean battle value? I have no idea. Doesn't tell you in the book. I reread it. Anyway, Firestarter Vapor is going to attack the Vidette as well. Going to use all of her weapons that she can. 2 flamers, which we're going to use as damage because heat doesn't affect tanks. 2 machine guns and 2 medium lasers. Medium lasers are going to be on 7s. Everything else is going to be on 9s. We're going to roll up the medium lasers first because they do more damage. So these 2 need 7s. That's going to be a double hit coming in on the right side. Let's hit that right side. Drop the dice. All right, we got turret and the front with a motive hit again. Okay, so that's turret. I'll take that one out. And this is going to be another motive hit. So again, it's a +2 to this roll. Okay, that's nothing. All right, fistful of dice here for the flamers and machine guns. They're all on 9s. Doesn't matter what's what. They all do 2 damage. There we go. We got nothing. Come on, Vapor. All right, finally we got the J. Edgar not scanning this round. Going to attack with everything. 1 medium laser and 2 SRM2s against the Panther. You know, the J. Edgar's pretty cool. It has all its weapons and its turret. That's very useful. So everything's going to be an 8. Everything's in medium range. Gonna need 8s on all these dice. The green is the medium laser. Okay, so the SRM2s hit, and I believe if you roll an 8 or higher, then they hit both missiles. Otherwise, they just hit 1. That's both. That's everything. Okay, so that's going to be 4 missiles coming in. These are coming in on the right side of the Panther. Here we go. All right, we got 4 to the right arm, 2 to the right leg, and 2 to the right torso. All on the right side. All right, that was not a good round for us. I don't know what I was thinking moving that thing up in here. I was like, oh, it can get in the woods. Great. That'll help protect it. Or not. Okay, so that vehicle is destroyed. Bye-bye, Bulldog. And there's no rules, by the way, in the Hinterlands book about whether that's truly destroyed or not. I assume that it is if it loses all of its internal structure, but the book doesn't tell you anything about vehicles if you want to play Total Warfare. You can tell they just threw that optional rule in there just to throw us a bone, us Total Warfare players. Anyway, let's get an update on what's going on. Bulldog is gone. Jagger's doing fine. Just use some ammo. Firestarter, Vapor. I was wrong. It has 3 front-facing flamers, but I didn't use them all because the heat went up to 4 on that. Yeah, want to keep that heat down. Don't want to start losing movement because that Demolisher will be pouncing on that. Nothing happened to Jimmy Calbo. Vidette took some damage, kind of splashy all around. That right side's getting pretty damaged. We could try to focus on that to take it out.
We got to start thinking about what we're doing here. Are we just going for the basic win just to recover the points that we're going to need to replace the Bulldog? Or are we going to try to take two things out here? Because the two easiest, if it's 50% of units, would be this and that. So we could try to take him out and try to get that, but we got to find his building first. And then we find the building, we got to destroy it. So there's the Panther, just took a little bit of damage on the right side. That's where things stand as of right now. No physical attacks are possible. We're going to go into the end phase. Jimmy scanned, did not attack. We're in the end phase. We can reveal this waypoint. Ah, there it is. Waypoint A. Okay, we are very fortunate that that was A, because I'll tell you what, if we had to go find this one or this one next round, things could be bad. So at this point now, this building is what we have to destroy. It has 30 points, 30 construction factor. So that means we need to deal 30 damage to it in order to bring it down, and that will achieve our objective. We need to win initiative pretty badly. We've got these two that can seriously punish us big time, and we don't want that. So let's roll up initiative and let's see what we're going to be working with here. Hopefully we can win. Commanders are still present, so just straight up initiative. We win. Whew, okay, that's great. So we're going to play normal classic BattleTech rules where it's going to be backloaded unequal number of units, so they won't have to move two until their last two. So they will go first. Let's start moving and see what happens. We're getting real lucky here because the aces cards for the Demolisher and the missile boat, the LRM carrier, are first. So they have to move before anything else. So that's huge for us. That will let us either get in position to attack them or just get in position to avoid them. This one's much easier to avoid than that one. All right, there's the movement for us. I think it went pretty well. I think we were mostly able to stay out of too much trouble. Basically, the LRM carrier had to go first. It wanted to get eyes on the quick draw with Jimmy because he's the commander and he's a destroy objective. So it had to get closer to him. So that was about the best I could do right there. The J. Edgar just zoomed down using cruise. Actually, see, I keep forgetting, but this is, it moves so fast. I think it's flanking, but it's actually cruising. So it used its cruising movement to get there and get 4 modifier for its TMM. And then the Bulldog had to go. Again, it wanted the quick draw, so it just backed up to get line of sight to it. Kind of tough to work with such a little movement when you know that unit can move. So then Jimmy jumped back into the woods here to take advantage of the -4 TMM here. Hopefully he can still hit. The Panther wanted to somehow attack him but stay out of line of sight of Vapor, so just backed up here. It's only going to shoot through 1 tree hex, so I think that worked out. The Vedette had very few options, just wanted to get in the woods, so it just used its cruising movement to get there. And then Vapor took advantage, jumped into this hex, which is going to have the building hex in the way from the Demolisher and the LRM carrier. So that will keep her out of too much trouble. Unfortunately, she can't attack this building. I don't think there's anywhere else she can go, though. If she goes anywhere in this area, that really opens up some pain. So, all right. Basically, these two are going to put everything they can into this building. We'll see if we can take it down. We got to do 30 damage. It's going to be pretty tough, but it has a low modifier, so hopefully we can do it. And then Vapor is just going to attack that. I'm going to do that, and then I'll deal with the aces side. This isn't going to be terribly exciting, so I'm just going to go ahead and shoot with Jimmy first. Going to do his 2 medium lasers. So he's going to have a 3 skill, +3 for jumping, -4 for this, so that's going to be a 2, and then a 2 for the range. It's 4 hexes away. So these are going to be 4s to hit with his 2 medium lasers. If he hits them both, that's 10 damage. Oh my God, Jimmy, you missed one. Okay, so that's 5 damage to the building. I'm not sure how exactly I'm going to track this, but whatever. Okay, the blue is going to be his LRM-10. The orange is going to be his SRM-4. The SRM-4 is also going to be a 4. The LRM, I think, might be a little bit more than that. Yeah, the LRM is going to be a 5 because it's in minimum range at 6 hexes, so it's going to be 4, 5, 6. So yeah, it's going to get a +3 modifier instead of a +2 for medium range. So the orange needs a 4, the blue needs a 5 to hit. This is pathetic. Come on, Jimmy. What kind of a commander are you? All right, rolling up on the SRM-4. That's going to be all 4 missiles. That's going to be another 8 damage. So that's 13 damage, which stinks because that means we can't take this building down on this round. Hopefully we don't get to an 18 or something where I can't mark it. All right, J. Edgar's going to go next. Medium laser, 2 SRM-2s going into it. So the max we can do would be 8, another 13. So the best we can do is 26 damage. Okay, so it's going to go. It's going to have a 4, 5 for cruising, 6, 7 for medium range. It's just going to need 3s to hit these. Okay, got everything. Going to roll up the cluster hits for the SRM-2s. Again, just needs 8s or higher. Okay, only gets 1 each. So that's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. All right, 22 damage. That stinks. I was hoping we could get this done on this round. Vapor now, she's going to have to think about this because she jumped 6 hexes. So that's 6 heat. She's already at +4. She only has 10 heat sinks. We'll fire 1 medium laser into that vedette. She's going to need a 10 to hit this. She got it. All right. Okay, roll it up. That's a 4. That could be a little something there. 4 on the side is a motive hit. So that's going to be at the side for 2 damage. It's going to be the left side, though. I'm sorry. That's going to be 5 damage on the left side. And we get to roll another motive hit with a +2. Ooh, that's an 11. That's going to hurt. That's going to be half the cruising movement. So that's going to be down to a 2-3 now. So a 2 cruising, 3 flank. It's got a +3 modifier to driving rolls. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but ouch, that is going to really hurt. It's pretty much stationary at this point. Should be an easy target for us to take out, but we still have to worry about this building. All right, let's do some damage on the Combine side. Demolisher's up first, but it can't attack anything. Can't attack Vapor, can't attack Mammoth. Sorry, I haven't used this call sign enough. Mammoth. And it can't attack the J. Edgar because it's going to be 13. Yeah, it's going to be 13 to hit it. So no luck there. The missile boat would be up next. It can definitely attack the J. Edgar. That's the only thing it can attack. It's going to need 11s to hit. So it can do 3 LRM 20s here. Needs 11s. Ooh, that one made me a little bit nervous, but nope, doesn't hit any of them. Okay, the Vedette is the only thing it can hit is Vapor. These two are out of line of sight, so it can only hit Vapor. It can only hit its AC 5. Gonna need 8s. It's at short range. Misses. Okay. All right, the Combine militia here is showing their true colors. They don't have a lot of skill or experience. Last up is the Panther. Can only see Mammoth in the woods there. Not going to be a great shot, but I think it can use its PPC and SRM 4. So it's going to try to do both of those. Okay, PPC is red. SRM is orange. 9 and 11. Misses both. Okay, wow, the Combine's really falling apart here. Okay, that was good. We escaped with no damage, and we did a decent amount of damage on that. I'm thinking maybe a couple things can start running away here. I think we have to escape on our own edge. We have to escape out the home edge in order to win. And that's not going to be easy, especially with this thing right in the middle of the field. We're going to have to think about that. All right, let me clean this up, and we'll go on to the next round. All right, we're all cleaned up here. Let me get you up to date on what's going on. Fire started with Vapor in it, dropped 1 heat down to 3 because it just jumped and used 1 medium laser, so that helped it cool off a little bit. Mammoth is cooking now, up to 6 heat, losing a movement point, but has jump jets, so at least the jump jets aren't impacted by that. And then finally, the Vedette took a little bit of damage on the left side. So it's got damage everywhere. It should be easy enough to take out, but we'll see. All right, initiative time. We should be able to finish this thing off and get out of here, get our combat pay. Like I said, it's pretty much a wash because we're just going to have to replace our vehicle that we lost. All right, rolling it up. That is a tie. Let's roll it up again. I got 11. Wow, we're getting lucky on initiative here. Okay, so we win initiative again. They're going to have to go first. I was thinking, like, this would be a pretty tough mission, even if you were playing against another player. The defender has a hard time here of preventing you as the attacker from completing your objective. I mean, I still have to get off of the map here, but I feel like with jumping mechs like these, it's like, you know, you're going to have such bad mods to hit these things. It's going to be pretty tough to win this one, but let's see what happens. All right, I'm taking over a little bit of the Combine's movement at this point because the LRM carrier wants to get closer to Vapor, so we want to go here, which, you know, why? Because I'm going to move out of the way, and then it's just going to have this little quarter of the map to shoot at. So at this point, they need to focus on Jimmy. So they're going to go back here. I think that's a better move for them. I mean, at this point, you know, they know they're going to achieve the objective. They just want to prevent them from getting off the map. And so I think it needs to back up and get itself where it can actually attack something. I mean, it doesn't have much armor that could let us take it out, but I feel like just tucking it here where it's for sure not going to be able to do anything is, I don't know. That just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. All right, there's movement. It is a little tough to figure out what to do with these units, you know, at this point in the game because they're losing initiative and they need to go before I've moved the target. And yeah, the Vedette just moved backwards. Again, it probably could have stood still, but I know the aces always want to move. And I think it's better to just have it with potential to get line of sight on something. Jimmy made the most controversial move and just walked out this way. He's going to take a risk. He's got a couple of units that can attack him on 11s. He's going to take the risk. And yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen. I think I'm going to have Vapor. Obviously, Vapor is going to attack this, and that should be able to take it down. I mean, she should be able to hit with 2 medium lasers. Just in case, I might have the J. Edgar attack it as well. And then the quick draw is going to try to hit the Vidette. It has to cool off, so it can't attack with very much, so it's going to try to attack that with one like LRM 10 shot. All right, so Vapor is going to fire her 2 medium lasers into this. She only jumped 3 hexes, so that'll keep her heat down. She'll fire those into this. The J. Edgar is going to fire its medium laser into this as well as a backup just in case. And the 2 SRM4s are going to go into the Demolisher. That's how we're going to do that. Like I said, the quick draw is just going to fire an LRM 10 at that Vidette. So I'm just calling it before because I can't change my mind after the attacks happen. So we're going to let Vapor go first. She's going to have a 7 with her jumping, but this is only 3 hexes away, so she's in short range. So it's going to be 3s to hit these 2. So she should be able to take it out, but just in case. See what I mean? All right, she got it. That's going to be all 10. So this is going to collapse. The bridge is going to fall down right on top of the Demolisher, destroying it. No, I'm just kidding. This is just for decoration, but that's gone. Okay, so we've achieved our objective. We've taken out the headquarters. So yay. Now I do have to, I'm going to leave the placeholder here just to say like that building was in the way when this turn started. So like the LRM carrier can't attack that. The medium laser shot isn't going to happen. I mean, it still happens. There's no heap, so it doesn't matter. And it's going to fire its 2 SRM4s. Or sorry, it's 2 SRM2s. I can't keep track of how many missiles there are. 2 SRM2s into the Demolisher, and those are at long range, I think. So it's a 4, 5, 6, 10. 10s to hit these. Oh, so close. No luck. I was hoping to hit a couple crit seekers and see if we could, I don't know, do something crazy to that Demolisher. That's our biggest worry here, trying to get out. And now some of our cover was just blown. So I'm thinking of like, am I going to just like run behind this hill and then just try to play peekaboo with it until we can get off the map? Not sure. All right, quick draw is going to go ahead and try to attack the Vidette. I don't think this is going to work out too well, but he's got a 3, 4, 5, nothing, 6, 7, because this is in the way. It's going to be a 9 to hit. Okay, here we go. And it doesn't hit. All right, Vidette's going up first. It can only attack Jimmy Mammoth in the quick draw there, so it's going to be an 11 to hit with its AC 5. 11. Got it. Wow. And that's coming in on the right side. That's a 10 on the right side. I think that's going to be the opposite armor leg. All right, the Panther perched atop this hill, shooting down at the quick draw in the back. This will be real bad if it hits. Just a PPC coming in, but it needs an 11. It jumped. Jimmy ran medium range, so needs an 11 to hit this. Here we go. 7. Okay, just missed. All right, Jimmy's going to try to keep walking through fire. Here comes the LRM carrier. Needs 11s to hit. 3 LRM 20s coming in. Can it hit an 11? Oh, no, it can't, but it was close. Okay, Jimmy's just like, yeah, I got this. And unfortunately for the Demolisher, it can't attack the J. Edgar. That is long range. It's 7 hexes away. That's going to be a 13. No luck. Poor Demolisher. Hey, it did the most in this battle so far. All right, that's it for that round. Mission accomplished as far as the primary objective, but we're not out of the woods yet. We have to actually get off the map here. And yeah, that's not going to be easy. We really need to win initiative again. So here's the update. Not a whole lot happened on that round. Jimmy did get hit in the quick draw, took 5 damage to the right arm. Actually, no, that would have been the left arm. Sorry, got to flip that. Sorry. It was opposite arm, so it would have been the left arm. Let me fix that. But he did get all of his heat down because he only spent 6 total heat with his run and his LRM 10, so that took all the rest of his heat away, so he's back to full movement. There we go, all fixed. Okay, that was it. So I cleared everything. It's gonna get real interesting now because we don't have this building in the way, so things are a lot more open and everything's kind of clustered together right in this area, and these 2 are looking for blood. Now we have to decide at this point, are we gonna try to take these 2 out? I mean, we may as well take a shot on our way out of here, but I think we're probably going to be playing hopscotch, jumping all the way off the map here. It's making me a little nervous, but I think we'll be able to do it, but we may have to just say, all right, let's just take the pay and get the heck out of here, just like true mercenaries. Okay, initiative, all commanders still in play. Oh my God, we did it again. We won initiative. That is huge. Even better, the Juggernaut got number 11, so it has to move first. That is huge. All right, there's movement. Again, tough to know what to do with stuff like this, but I wanted to just maximize their chances to be able to hit these things. So, you know, they could have focused on the destroy objective, but it's like it can move. And so Jimmy just kind of tucked himself behind. Tough to see him, but he tucked himself behind this building here to get away from the demolisher. So everything's kind of moving this way as fast as it can. It's going to have real high mods, so low chance of hitting anything. But my units are going to try to hit these guys, of course, and see if we can take them out. We're protected from the demolisher, except the J. Edgar, which that's going to be a really hard shot. It probably will be impossible. Yeah, it will be. Demolisher's out of it. That's the advantage of it being slow and having to go first. And so we'll just do a couple of shots here and see if anything can hit. All right, the Vedette is going to try to hit the J. Edgar here. That's probably its best bet. It's in short range, so it's got a 4, 5, 9. It needs a 9 to hit. One hit can do a lot of damage to these hover tanks. That is an 8, just missed. So not quite. The LRM carrier, let's see what it wants to do here. Actually, it's going to attack the fire starter because it's going to get a +1 for the TMM, and it's also going to get a +1 for minimum range. It's going to get a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just 8s, I think. Uh-oh, I didn't think that one through very well. Yeah, that's 7 hexes. That's short range. Uh-oh. This could be bad for Vapor. 8s. It missed everything. What the heck just fell? I heard something fall. Oh, the pink dice. Pink dice went over here was a 1. Sorry, I was like, where did that go? All right, anyway, here we go. It's going to be a 12 to hit. Ooh, it did it before, but not this time. All right, that's it for the Combine side. That's good. Probably one more round, we will guarantee our escape here. It'd be really great if we took that thing out, though. just a guarantee that we're good to go. All right, J. Edgar is going to try to take this Vedette out. It's going to fire everything. It has a turret, so it's going to turn the turret, fire everything. 1 medium laser, 2 SRM2s. So it's going to need a 6, 7, 8. Just 8s on all 3 of these. The green is the medium laser. Okay, hits the medium laser and hits 1 of the SRM2s. Move that out of the way. Let's see if we hit 2 or 1. Just 1. All right, so that's going to be 7 damage coming in on the right side. Okay, that's going to be a turret, and a 9 is... Man, we're letting this Vedette get away with everything. Damage is splashing everywhere. Turret and rear on that one, so no good. But the rear shot does get a motive hit. So this is, again, going to be a +2 to this roll. That's going to go up to a 9. I think that'll take 1 more motive hit away, or sorry, 1 more point away. So that's going to take it down to a 1-2. That's it. It can only move basically 1 hex cruising, 2 hexes if it's flanking. All right, so Vapor, I think she jumped 6 hexes, so she probably doesn't want to mess around with heat because I think she's at 2 heat. So you know what? She could fire 2 medium lasers. Let's see. She goes there. I think it's right on the line here, so the Vedette would choose the tree. The side with the tree is in the way. So she'd be at a 7, 8, 9, 10. That's worth a shot. All right, so she's rolling 10s for these medium lasers. Nothing. No luck. Okay, Jimmy can't do anything, so that's going to end the round. Vapor's going to go up in a little bit of heat. She's going to go back up to 4 heat. So she's managing her heat well. But yeah, nobody's really hitting anything. So I don't know if we're going to have a chance to complete our bonus objective, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to clear this, and we'll get into the next round. All right, can the Combine win initiative? That's a tie. A lot of ties in this game. And nope, they can't. We win again. I think this is why Aces did the -2 thing to the previous winner to try to break the cycle of this. All right, they have to go first again. All right, there's our movement. We're playing like true mercenaries now. The J. Edgar bailed. It could have gotten off the map, but it hung back just to help a little bit if necessary. Vapor's out of here. She just came off a bad mission. She knows what's going on. She's getting the heck out of here. They're kind of stranding Mammoth here. They all moved out into here and into that middle. So Jimmy can't really move this direction or he's going to get lit up. So he's got to try to find a way to get away from this thing. So he decided to just jump back and go in here in the heavy woods. And then he's going to reassess on the next turn. But he may end up being alone here. I got to double check these rules of how the heck you get out of here. If it is home edge only, I feel like I'm kind of in big trouble. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to get out on the home edge. So he needs to exit here. Probably should have thought about that before I had him walk on here. He probably could have gone here. Well, I guess we had to scan it, but maybe let that J. Edgar do the scanning and then attack it from here and then get out. Okay, I said the quick draw was a good mech, but it overheats badly. In any case, these two can't do anything. This can't do anything. So these 3, I think, are all, I mean, they would all attack the destroy objective. I'm just going to say, why wouldn't they? All right, Jimmy's going to fire 1 medium laser, 1 SRM4, and 1 LRM10. The LRM 10 is the blue, that needs an 8. The other two, the orange is the SRM 4, the green is the medium laser. Those need 10s. So 8s and 10s. Absolutely nothing. Okay. And he was firing at the LRM carrier. He missed, so it doesn't really matter. So the Vedette can only attack with an AC 5. 11. Needs an 11. No luck. Up next would be the missile boat. All 11s. Nothing. Isn't this really exciting? Hold on. Something happened there. I didn't roll the other orange die. Okay, 9. Doesn't matter. This guy's going to shoot the PPC. He's got a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No luck. No hits on this round. Okay, that's it. Jimmy is going to go up on heat a little bit, I think. I actually did forget to shoot the SRM-4 with the Panther. That would be a 12. Nope. Okay. The horrible shooting continues. All right, we lost initiative this time. Unfortunately, the Juggernaut's going to go almost last. So this is real bad. Actually, it is going to go last because I have to move everything first. Not good. So I think at this point, when I'm talking to a human, if I'm playing against a human player, I would ask at this point, do we want to just agree to just end the mission? And because I'm just pretty much going to jump around and try to avoid you and make it real hard for you to hit me. It's going to be very difficult for you to take me out. And I don't think there's anything more that I can really do. There's no real purpose for me to stay here. You know, it's one of those things, like, if I were the Kurita player, I probably would say, screw you. I'm going to chase you down because one way or another, I've got to try to achieve this objective, and I've got 4, you've only got 2 left. I know you can't do much. You're afraid of the Demolisher. You know, let me know what you think about that, but I probably wouldn't surrender, especially in a thematic way. Like, there's no way they're going to say, okay, you came and destroyed our headquarters. All right, let's just bail. Yeah, not going to do that. So I feel like they would keep going. This is going to be relatively boring for you, though, so I'm probably just going to speed run it, and I'll just let you know if anything interesting happens. I don't want to bore you with like an hour of me, you know, trying to escape out of here. I don't think that's terribly interesting. All right, some action. Jimmy tried to run away. This is the only way I could think of to get the hell out of here, is to just run for my life, and then on the next turn I'll be able to go 8 hexes that way, but that might not happen because a Demolisher just hit one of its AC 20s. I was kind of afraid of that, but I wanted to make it realistic that I could try to get out of here. I'm pretty sure this is going to be in the rear, so I better hope this hits like a leg or something. I'm going to need a 9 or a 5. Oh my God. That's an arm. I'll take that. Honestly, I will take that. Okay, so that's 4. That's going to go to the right arm. Ooh, his arm just hanging on by 1 pip. But that's going to be a critical chance. So I'm just playing normal critical rules. Just needs an 8 or higher to deal a critical. Does not get it. Okay, Jimmy's going to need a piloting skill word at the end. Of course, this Panther still gets to go. He's coming in on the left side. Something could happen. I'll let you know. Yep, Panther hits with the PPC. I didn't roll its SRM-4. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, hits everything. Okay, cluster roll hit. 7. I think that's going to be 3 missiles. Okay, this could be real bad. So this is coming in on the left side. A lot of damage. That, I think, actually is the right arm. That's going to be the end of his right arm. That's going to be a floating critical, because I do play floating critical rules, and that's going to be the left torso. So the PPC hits the right arm. That's the opposite side. It's going to be the right arm. 2 to the left arm. 2 to the left torso, and then we're going to roll this up as a floating critical hit chance. That's the 8. That's the center torso. Okay, so that's not good. All right, so because I had 1 internal structure from that PPC hit, it will not inflict a critical. I think I'm playing that right, because if there's nothing, there was stuff that could have taken a critical, but the arm was completely destroyed. So we just move on. All right, so the center torso one, this is the big one. This could potentially get a critical from the through armor. That is going to inflict a critical. Oh God. Okay, this might have been a big mistake. Blue is going to be the upper or lower, and the orange is going to be the actual crit. Okay, so bottom 4, that's an engine hit. Okay, that could have been a lot worse. I'm going to take the engine hit. The gyro is what I did not want to see. Okay, I don't think anything other than Vedette can try to hit too. Okay, Vedette hits on a 9. Okay, misses. All right, so Jimmy's going to escape. We completely missed, but we whiffed on everything we did. The quick draw tried to use its rear lasers, didn't happen. Vapor tried to hit that with lasers, didn't happen. So that's that. Jimmy does need to make, so he took a lot of damage, right? He took 3 misses. That was 36 damage. Okay, so that's just 1 PSR. So unfortunately, he's going to have to make a roll. His piling is a 5, so he needs to make a 6 to stay standing. He does it. Ooh. Okay, that could have been bad. Now I'm going to have to check his heat and see if he loses any movement. I don't think he will, because he used 6 plus 2 for running, so that's 8, plus 5 would be 13. Now he's going to be okay. Okay, Jimmy escapes again somehow. He ran for his life up here. Everything fired at it, except the Demolisher, which couldn't hit. Can't really hit anything. It's too far away now. Everything missed. He barely missed from the Panther. It missed by 1 on both, but he escaped, so he just made it out. I gotta say, I'm sweating a little bit here. I thought this was gonna be easy when we found it on the second try, but now I'm really sweating. Okay, he's just gotta make a run for it now. They both should be able to get off of here pretty easily, I think, at this point, because he can just run in a straight line and hopefully get behind this hill. Okay, potential disaster here. So Jimmy ran up that way. Oh, sorry, you can't see. Sorry. Jimmy ran up that way. Kind of the same thing. They're all attacking except for the Demolisher. And the Vedette hit the left side, but hit the right arm again. All the right torso armor is gone. And the LRM carrier just hit 2. Yeah, this could be real bad. They're coming on the left side, which hasn't been hit that hard yet. Okay, so I got an 8 and a 3. Okay, that could have been worse. Okay, for the cluster of 12, the pink is going to be the 2, coming in on the left side. Okay, so 2 to the left leg, 5 to the right leg, and then 5 to the right torso. That's going to go internal. Maybe they're onto something about these side tables. Okay, I'm going to roll this critical for the right torso. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, that missed. Right torso has armor or ammo, so we don't want that. All right, and then for the 6, we're going to have the red is the 5, the pink is the 1. 8 is going to be center torso, and this one is going to be the left torso. So I think we're going to escape not too bad. He is on the left side. Yeah, I confirm. He's on the left side arc. All things considered, he's okay. It's that right side we got to watch out for. He's internal. But yeah, that's where he's sitting now. A lot of armor damage, some critical damage. Going to be an expensive fix. Luckily, they're paying for it all. Just got to survive. Okay, this escape is just craziness. They all managed to somehow catch up. I don't know what the heck happened here, but I have a choice basically to either hide again, which isn't going to do me any good, or just take a chance. So I jumped into the heavy woods here. It's going to give me a 5 mod. I mean, that's pretty much going to make the Demolisher hit an 11 on these AC 20 hits. So I'm going to take the chances that it won't hit an 11, and then I can get off the map on the next round. So we're just going to roll this up. Here we go. 2 AC 20s coming in on 11s. Oh, misses both. Okay. And then the Panther's going to need an 11 on the PPC and a 10 on the SRM4. Nothing. Okay. LRM carrier is last up. And it can't hit. It's at minimum range, so it can't hit. Okay. This turned out to be way more difficult than I thought as far as the escape. I should have thought a little more about that, like how to get the heck out once this is over, but we fortunately managed to run away. They technically would have claimed the field. I think they would get salvage if it were another player, but that Bulldog was totally destroyed, so I don't think there'd be any salvage for them to get. But wow, that was, oh my God, that was nerve-wracking. Okay, I mean, it was fun. I had a good time. It probably wasn't that terribly exciting because there was so much missing. I think when you have missions like this, you're just gonna have a lot of moving, and when you're just trying to hit the target, like one specific target, it is what it is. You're gonna take it out easily. And then the escape and the movement part, that was fun. So luckily the Combine wasn't shooting all that well today, although that Demolisher was really putting a whooping on some of my units, but whew, we managed to escape. All right, I'm gonna end it there. I can show you just real quick what everything looks like because I'll have to start paying for this stuff. So there's the quick draw. I showed that before. It has internal damage, has an engine hit, so that's gonna be an expensive repair. Firestarter never got hit. Had a decent amount of heat, but never got hit, so we're okay there. Okay, Bulldog's done, and the J. Edgar made it out with nothing. Used a lot of ammo, but otherwise really didn't have any damage. So it's just going to be replacing the Bulldog, which is going to be expensive. Pretty much going to use all of our combat pay. Repairing the quick draw, that's going to be expensive, but luckily the Lyran Commonwealth has deep pockets, and they're going to take care of that for us, so no problem there. It's just going to be pretty much an offset. They're going to pay us a little bit for the destroyed Bulldog. We'll pay the rest, but that's going to be pretty much our combat pay. So I think it's going to be mostly a wash. We're going to lose a little bit on this battle, but ultimately we were successful. Our reputation is going to go up, and we're going to head into the next mission. So I had fun. I hope you enjoyed watching. I am going to play this again with the battlefield support rules, and just to show you how it plays a little bit differently. Potentially could get destroyed easier. There would have been a lot of damage checks, especially on that vedette. Probably would have died. This is kind of the trade-off you get, like the BSP, with that many rounds of taking a hit, they're probably going to get destroyed. In Total Warfare, they can soak it on different sides and might not get destroyed. Or they can soak all of their damage on the same side, like the Bulldog, and get destroyed instantly. Whereas a Bulldog in the Battlefield Support Assets system could have survived that destroyed check just by luck and would have still been around for me. So it's just to me, it's just a trade-off. I don't find one much easier than the other. I know people like the cards because it's just you throw the cards out and you're ready to play. That's a valid point. I don't know. I feel like in this case, okay, it takes all the damage in one spot and blows up, and it might have survived a destroy check. The Vedette survives this entire time. Battlefield Support Assets probably would have died. Okay, I'll make a separate video where I do the administration. I'll clean things up, do my repairs, show how the contracts work, and then I'll do that mission, and then we'll do mission number 2 at some point. Thanks for watching.